Right now, Steelers fans can't stop talking about one thing: the interview. That sit-down between a legendary athlete and a well-known host earlier today set the internet on fire, and for good reason. It marked the first time we've heard directly from the player since the start of the offseason, and he didn't hold back. He opened up about the long wait surrounding his decision for the 2025 season, praised the Pittsburgh organization, and even got real about the possibility of retirement. It was honest, vulnerable, and filled with enough hints to keep the speculation alive. Let's dive into it, because I have a lot to say about what came out of that conversation. And before we go any further, let me ask you this. After watching that interview, what do you think the chances are of him signing with the Steelers and becoming their starting quarterback this season? Give it a number from 0 to 100. 0 meaning there's no way he's putting on a Steelers jersey, and 100 meaning it's already a done deal. Let's see what the vibe is in the comments. But now, let's break down what really matters. First off, the waiting game. Everyone's been wondering why it's taken so long for him to make a call. Is it about money? Is he hoping to hear from another team? Is he still bitter about something from last season? According to him, none of that is true. This isn't about shopping around for offers or holding the Steelers hostage. It's not about contract details or even the team's current state. What he said, plain and simple, is that he's dealing with personal matters, serious ones, that have taken priority over football. He was direct and heartfelt, saying that what's happening in his private life right now requires his full attention, and he's not ready to fully commit to a team until that's settled. One of the most powerful moments in the interview came when he said, and I quote, "The difficulties I'm facing off the field within my inner circle need my attention now. I'm not stringing anyone along. I'm not holding anyone hostage. I've been transparent from the start about my mental state and the limitations I'm facing. I'm not trying to disrespect any of the Steelers players, veterans, or rookies coming in. I'm just in a tough place personally, and that needs to come first." That hit different. You could feel the weight of what he's carrying, and you could tell he's not just buying time or avoiding commitment. He's genuinely trying to handle real-life stuff before throwing himself into the grind of the NFL again. And let's be honest, that level of honesty isn't something we see every day from athletes, especially someone of his stature. He made it clear to the team that if they feel like they need to move on or make other plans, he completely understands. There's no bad blood, no drama. He said he's all about love and respect, even if the Steelers go in a different direction. But the fact that there's been no hard deadline and that conversations are still happening tells me there's still a strong mutual interest here. Personally, I believe him. I really do. It sounds like he's going through something heavy, probably involving family or people very close to him, and he's not willing to broadcast the details, which is absolutely fair. Private life is called private for a reason. But from the way he spoke, it's clear that he hasn't closed the door on Pittsburgh. If anything, he seems to be trying to keep that door open while navigating his current challenges. He also addressed something that's been bugging a lot of people: media speculation. You know how it is. The moment someone stays quiet, everyone starts making assumptions. Insiders, former players, podcasts, they all think they've got the scoop. But according to him, most of it is flat out wrong. He said something that stood out to me: "I don't leak things. My circle is small. I don't share just to share. That's not how I operate." And that right there explains a lot. If it's not coming directly from him or someone in his family, and he made it clear they don't leak, then it's probably just noise. He talked about all the false reports out there, from teams supposedly interested in him, to rumors that he's waiting for a certain quarterback to fail, to talk that he's trying to pitch himself to a specific team. One of the most common narratives was that he's hoping for a shot with another franchise, and that he's just stalling until they make a move. But that's not the case, at least according to him. In fact, he said the team that people keep mentioning isn't even the market for him this season, and the whole thing got blown way out of proportion, probably because of a family connection to a former player. That connection may have sparked the rumor, but he shut it down quick. And get this, he even shot down the idea that he's holding out until after the draft to see how rosters shake out. I admit, I was one of those who thought that maybe he wanted to wait and see if a quarterback was picked in the first round, just to know what kind of competition he'd be walking into. But no, he said the draft has no bearing on his decision. Even if a team picks a young quarterback early, he'd still be open to joining and mentoring that player. That tells me his focus isn't on protecting his ego. It's on finding the right fit personally and professionally. Now let's talk about the money side, because that's another topic that's been blowing up. Some reports claimed he was asking for a contract worth $30 to $40 million a year, trying to top other quarterback deals. He called that nonsense. Straight up, he said, "From the beginning, I told every team I spoke with that this isn't about money. I'd play for $10 million. I never said I wanted a long-term deal worth $30 or $40 million per season." That changes the entire conversation. Because if he's truly willing to take that kind of pay cut, it means he's chasing something bigger than a paycheck. Maybe a final shot at a ring, or just a chance to go out on his own terms. He made it clear he respects the Steelers and feels good about the organization. He talked about his recent visit, meeting with key figures, and how much he enjoyed throwing sessions with certain players. There was an energy to the way he described it that made you think, okay, he's really feeling this team. And then there was the moment where he talked about throwing with a UCLA player. He said he wanted to get a sense of rhythm, feel the connection, talk about energy, and see how the ball was coming out. That doesn't sound like a guy with no interest in joining the team. That sounds like someone actively testing the waters. He even said that the coaching staff impressed him more than he expected. He mentioned that the head coach surpassed his expectations, both as a leader and as a person. Anyone who follows this guy knows he's long admired the coach's style, but after meeting face-to-face, he came away even more convinced that it could be a great fit. He talked about another coach he's built a friendship with over the years, someone he respects and values. He spoke highly of the quarterback coach, too, someone he trained with in the past. All of that adds up to something serious. He's not just name-dropping. He's drawing a picture of a place where he sees himself fitting in. There's one more thing: communication. Some outlets have claimed the team hasn't heard from him since his visit. He said that's false. He's been in touch. Not only has he spoken with the organization, but he's also had several conversations with the head coach, keeping the line open even as he navigates his personal situation. And when he said there's no more uncertainty about his future in football, that was a big statement. It signals to me that he's made up his mind about playing. It's just a matter of when, not if. From the way he talked, it sounds like we're looking at a two-option scenario. Either he suits up for the Steelers this season, or he walks away from the game altogether. And honestly, both options seem completely valid based on what he shared. On one hand, he's clearly intrigued by what Pittsburgh has to offer. He's spoken highly of the coaching staff, the locker room, and the direction the team is heading. On the other hand, the weight of his personal life right now might just be too heavy to carry alongside the pressure and commitment that comes with being a starting quarterback in the NFL. He didn't close the door on retirement. In fact, he said it outright, that stepping away is still very much on the table if these personal challenges persist into the summer months. You can tell he's not the kind of guy who wants to drag this on or make a dramatic exit. If he reaches a point where he feels that he can't give 100%, he'll walk away with his head held high. But let's be real. Everything about the way he spoke suggests that he wants to play. He's just waiting for the right time when his head and heart are fully aligned, and when he knows he can pour every ounce of himself into the game again. He also made it clear that he's already expressed to the organization that his intention is to play this year. It's not just some vague hope. He's actively had discussions, not only with the Steelers, but with another team before talks with that one faded away. That tells you this isn't some slow-play retirement tour. He's serious about getting back on the field. He just needs a little more time to make sure everything in his life is lined up the way it needs to be. And that brings us to the million-dollar question. When? When is this decision going to be made? Truth is, no one really knows. Not even him, it seems. There's no deadline, no ticking clock that he's rushing to beat. This could get sorted next week, though that feels unlikely, or it could stretch well into the summer. Training camp is looming in the distance as the unofficial deadline, and from what we're hearing, the team is willing to be patient. They're not pushing him. They're giving him the time he needs because they believe in what he brings to the table. That says a lot about the trust and respect between both sides. The team clearly sees him as a potential game changer, someone who can step in and immediately elevate the offense. But they're also not forcing him to rush into a decision. They understand that for him to be fully present, he has to get through what he's dealing with first. And once he's there, once he's in, he's all in. That's always been his style. No shortcuts, no distractions, just full dedication to the job. The organization seems to have built its off-season plans around the idea that he'll be their guy. They haven't signed another veteran quarterback. They haven't made any drastic trades. They're not panicking. That in itself is a pretty strong indication that they're planning as if he's part of the picture. If that doesn't work out, they'll adjust. But for now, they're keeping the door wide open, and that mutual respect is probably one of the reasons he's still considering this so seriously. Now, with the NFL draft approaching fast, the question naturally becomes, what's the backup plan? Do the Steelers spend a first-round pick on a quarterback just in case? From where I'm standing, it doesn't look like that's the play. This is a team that wants to win now. They're looking at the roster and thinking, if we could just lock down the quarterback position, we're in business. Spending that first-rounder on a developmental quarterback who may not even touch the field this year doesn't help with that goal. It makes more sense for them to use that pick on an immediate contributor, someone who can make an impact right away, whether on the offensive line, the secondary, or at a skill position. That doesn't mean they won't draft a quarterback at all. In fact, I think they will. But it'll likely be in the middle rounds, third, maybe fourth. Someone with upside, someone they can mold behind the scenes while this season plays out. A name like Jalen Milroe has come up. He's got tools. He's raw, but there's potential there. And if he's available in the right spot, it makes perfect sense to bring him in and let him grow under the radar. That way, if things don't go according to plan, whether this year or next, they've got a young guy in the system who's been learning the playbook and soaking up the environment. And don't forget, if things really don't work out with our guy and the timing just never lines up, there's always the possibility of adding another veteran later in the offseason. There are always a few names floating around, guys who can come in, manage the game, and give the team a shot while the younger players develop. But that's Plan B, maybe even Plan C. Right now, Plan A is still very much alive, and that plan is to have him under center in Week 1. I can't emphasize enough how much of a difference he would make for this team. This isn't just about experience or name recognition. It's about presence, leadership, command. You bring him in, and suddenly that entire offense looks different. Guys play with more confidence. The defense feels like it has a real shot because the offense can actually sustain drives and put points on the board. That's what he brings. And if you listen to how he talked about his time with the team, even just a brief visit, it's obvious he felt that spark. So buckle up, because whether it's tomorrow, next month, or right before training camp, this saga is far from finished. And if he does come back, if he puts on that black and gold jersey and leads the team onto the field, it's going to be one of the most electric moments of the entire season. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comment below. Whispers turned into roars across the NFL landscape this week, as insiders confirmed the Pittsburgh Steelers are making aggressive moves to secure one of two high-profile quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence or Baker Mayfield. In a bold maneuver that has stunned executives across the AFC, the storied franchise appears determined to reshape its identity and stabilize its quarterback position with a major splash. With off-season drama swirling and Pittsburgh still searching for long-term consistency under center, the idea of landing a former number 1 overall pick is more than a dream. It's quickly becoming a potential reality. The Steelers' interest in Trevor Lawrence is especially intriguing. Still under contract with the Jaguars after signing a record-breaking extension in 2024, Lawrence's recent string of injuries and Jacksonville's disappointing 4-13 campaign have reportedly triggered internal conversations about a possible shift in direction. The young quarterback, once hailed as a generational talent, struggled to stay healthy and couldn't recapture the spark of his 2022 breakout season. Yet, Pittsburgh views him not as a liability, but as a golden opportunity. League sources suggest the Steelers believe their infrastructure, coaching staff, and historic winning culture could offer Lawrence the perfect environment to reset and reach the superstar level many still believe he's capable of. But the Steelers aren't putting all their eggs in one basket. In a parallel pursuit, the team has also expressed serious interest in Baker Mayfield, whose roller coaster career is back on an upswing. After revitalizing his image and earning Pro Bowl honors with the Buccaneers, Mayfield's fierce leadership and gritty play style have caught the eye of Pittsburgh brass. Despite recently signing a 3-year extension with Tampa Bay, whispers around the league hint that the Steelers are exploring trade scenarios that could pry the fiery veteran away, possibly leveraging draft capital and defensive assets to sweeten the deal. It's a calculated gamble, but one Pittsburgh believes could bring instant swagger and stability to the offense. This dual pursuit reveals more than just quarterback envy. It signals a seismic shift in how the Steelers view their future. With head coach Mike Tomlin's ironclad standard of excellence and a defense built to win now, the front office is clearly unwilling to wait for internal development at the quarterback position. Whether it's the youthful potential of Lawrence or the battle-tested grit of Mayfield, the Steelers want a leader who can command the huddle, challenge defenses, and most importantly, win in January. And with the AFC North growing more cutthroat by the year, Pittsburgh understands that standing still is not an option. As fans in the Steel City await news with bated breath, one thing is certain. The Pittsburgh Steelers are done playing it safe. They're aiming high, targeting former number 1 picks with resumes full of flash, flaws, and immense upside. Whether they land the polished prospect from Clemson or the fiery underdog from Oklahoma, the franchise is signaling a new era. An era where Pittsburgh is once again prepared to chase greatness, armed with ambition, backed by legacy, and perhaps led by a new face under center. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.